Day down on the south side. So this is a wonderful day to be here. You can see so many wonderful folks who have joined us here today, but I certainly want to thank all of our speakers that are here, and want to thank the Reeb Avenue Center for hosting us here. This has been such an important anchor on the south side of Columbus to deliver important social services to those in need, but also workforce services. And that's certainly what we're here to talk about here today. But it has been an incredible place for so many families to gain needed skills and workforce and childcare in this part of the community. My kiddo used to go to school literally on the other side of that door there across from us, so it's certainly nice to be back here with folks on the south side here today. Want to thank Goodwill. Also, particularly, they have a location here at the Reeb Avenue Center to bring their services to folks on the south side. And certainly Aspire. We're going to hear from their executive director, Lisa Pat McDaniel, here in a few moments for helping be a critical partner in this Career 500 program. Last October, my council colleagues and I passed legislation at City Council to approve $1.8 million to create Career 500, a transformational program where these funds would be distributed to workforce development programs here in Columbus and Central Ohio, with the goal of either expanding capacity of existing programs or providing additional resources for those programs to allow 500 of our friends and neighbors to gain access to needed workforce development training here in Columbus. We know in Columbus that our unemployment rate is rather low compared to across the country. And in fact, in Ohio, we've been towards the bottom of that unemployment rate. Yet, even during these strong economic times, we know that we have too many friends, neighbors, and family members that live paycheck to paycheck. And at a time in which we look towards the future of this continued growth, we have one of the biggest pulls on our ability to build on these economic development efforts in Central Ohio is that workers are not matched with the skills that employers need, and employers don't have enough workers that match the skills that they need. So at a time that we have individuals in our community that struggle to put food on the table, to send their kids to school, yet there's all types of opportunities out there in the workforce. That is why we must partner together, both public and private, to make sure that we are allowing our residents to gain access to these types of training opportunities to make sure that they can move beyond living paycheck to paycheck, that they have real economic stability to make sure that not just putting food on the table and putting a roof over their heads, but can get ahead, to make sure that they have the needed resources to build a family and build a life right here in Central Ohio. That is why we're here this morning, and that is why we're excited to announce the recipients of this Career 500 grant. Each grantee has a different program that has different strengths and different communities that they serve best, but all have a commitment to create a better, more inclusive economy for workers here in Columbus, an economy that comes with living wages, health care, and retirement benefits. If you've heard me talk about this before, it's not just about jobs, it's about careers. And that's because we have to talk about the whole family, and not just $1 amount that's on a paycheck, but something that comes with health care and retirement benefits to build that family into the future. I'm excited to announce here today that our recipients are Youth Over Us, Franklinton Rising, Riverview International, Ethiopian Tayuendo Social Services, Goodwill Columbus, Jewish Family Services, and National Center for Urban Solutions. As I mentioned earlier, the executive director of Aspire will be up here in a moment, and Lisa Pat McDaniel, we've talked for many, many years about how do we coordinate efforts here in Columbus to ensure that the programs that are doing the best are really empowered to make sure that they are focusing on that work. All too often we ask everyone to do everything at all times for everyone. And this is really an effort really to identify key programs that are providing really excellent access to specific portions of our community in specific growth industries, so that we're actually matching individuals with the industries and skills that are needed. Beyond just more seats and programs, our workforce partners in these programs will be taking down barriers and uplifting our residents into these careers. That's not just simply one effort, but hopefully the ability to build what these programs are already doing to ensure that more folks have access to these opportunities moving in the future. so that they can move their families forward here in Columbus as we all grow together. And I think one of the really important aspects of Career 500 is that we've actually brought on Ohio State Center for Education and Training for Employment to evaluate each program through the life of this project. And allow me to say that again, oftentimes we all focus on the thing that's right in front of us because we have to. We have to serve that resident, we have to serve the community. But what we've also tried to do with this program is to make sure that we actually take a step back throughout this whole journey to find out what are folks doing well, what can we improve on. And the goal with that kind of investment with our friends from Ohio State is to make sure in the future that we learn as much as we can from this investment, to make sure that future investments from City Council and others in this community allow us to use that information to make better, more strategic investments, because at the end of the day, it's about making sure that more families in Central Ohio enjoy that economic stability and make sure that our region continues to grow as inclusive as we possibly can. And next, I want to introduce my partner in all of this, Lisa Pat McDaniel, the CEO of Aspire. Thank you.
Good morning. It's always good to be here on a happy day like this. The first thing I want to do is, of course, thank Councilmember Dorrance and City Council for having the foresight to make this investment, but in the way that they're making this investment by including our partners at Ohio State. It's not very often, we always say we want to evaluate what we're doing. We want to evaluate and help our partners figure out what's working really well for them and what's not working as well, and share best practices across the ecosystem of workforce. And this kind of investment that also includes this evaluation at the same time is rare. And so I really want to commend you for that. So very much looking forward to working with our partners at Ohio State while we do this. Aspire, this is probably the last time I'm ever going to say this, formally known as the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio, now Aspire, is a workforce innovation organization. We have the board, Workforce Board, who provides thought leadership to what we do and what we hope we bring to the ecosystem of the workforce development ecosystem and our workforce development network as well. We also have the Ohio Means Job Center. Many people call it 1111 East Broad, but it's actually called the Ohio Means Job Center, where we help our job seekers get the skills they need to get some of the best jobs, and also to help employers source that talent. Career 500's approach, as I've said, is new. Not what our partners are going to be doing, what you all have been doing, you've been doing, but the idea of making this investment and then evaluating it and helping to share best practices really is new. It's unfortunate, but here we are at the beginning going forward, right? Aspire, what we hope to do is to help provide and bring resources and technical assistance from both what we know and in the organizations that we participate in, where we get new ideas, and also to help you share new ideas amongst yourselves. In addition to, we will be the grantees. So we will be working with each one of you to make sure that you get the funding that you need and that you're able to spend it well. As I've said, and as actual council member Dorrance already said, is that our goal here isn't to just talk about getting entry-level jobs. It's trying to help people see a career pathway so that they aren't stuck where they are, but instead are put in jobs and see a way to continually grow their ability to provide for themselves and their family, but also to continually stretch their own talent. So it's not just, it is about providing them jobs that bring more money into their household, but also helping them to fulfill what it is they want to accomplish in their lives and what they want to accomplish for their families. And so that's what's exciting about this. It's not just about the person who presents, who needs a job, who needs help today. It's about a good job, a better job, a career. And I know that we all have that in the programs that we're running now. And so we're very excited about that. But what I'd like to do next is I'd like to introduce one of our awardees I'd like to introduce Ryan Burgess. He is the CEO of Goodwill Columbus. He jostled a lot of things to get here, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. He's also a partner of ours, and he co-chairs the Central Ohio Workforce Development Network, which is part of the work that Aspire is doing to establish an ecosystem in workforce. So, Ryan.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Burgess with Goodwill Columbus. On behalf of the whole Goodwill team, we are so grateful to be a part of the Career 500 initiative. First, a few thanks. Councilmember Dorans, you've been a longtime supporter of Goodwill, a workforce champion, and I will tell you right now, in this moment of great uncertainty for a number of nonprofits, this grant gives us more certainty, at least for this specific program, so thank you. Lisa Pat McDaniel, thank you, the Aspire Workforce Board. Lisa and I have been in the workforce trenches together for a long time, so I appreciate your leadership and support. To the Goodwill team, who does all the work at our 4 job training centers across our footprint, Elijah Smith sitting up front here, who runs point for us here at the Reeb Center. Elijah, I appreciate what you do every day. And then finally, Ali Zoller, the Reeb team. We really enjoy this partnership. It's just awesome to be a part of this whole environment here. So I have to start. Most people might be thinking, okay, Goodwill, they're a bunch of thrift stores. Why are they here? Oh, well, yes, we are. That's a part of our very unique enterprise, the model that we run since 1902. The donations that we receive when we sell those items, the revenue we generate, helps support our overall mission, and job training programs is a part of that mission. Goodwill Columbus, we've been serving Central Ohio for just over 85 years. We just celebrated our 85th anniversary last year. And our vision statement is that we want all individuals to be embraced as valued and dignified members in our community. And my humble belief is that having a good job, work, and a good career, there's no greater sense of self-dignity that comes from work. So that's why we're all here today. A couple macro data points for you to consider before I talk about the program is Columbus and Central Ohio is enjoying a lot of growth. And we're also facing challenges that come with that growth. But over the next 25 years, the number of 65-year-olds and older is going to grow by 40%. So that's going to continue to stress our healthcare system. Secondly, out of the 4 major health systems that are here in Columbus, they currently employ 84,000 individuals, but yet there's 7,000 open or unfilled positions. So what can we do to create that talent pipeline to help address that need? So our state-tested nursing assistant program that we operate here in the Reeb Center, what it is, it's an entry-level healthcare certification. What we do is we provide free, and I have to emphasize free, high-quality training right here in the Reeb Center. It's a 5-week program, 59 hours of classroom instruction with about 16 hours of clinical training. But what's special about it is the participants receive personalized support through a career consultant who helps them navigate transportation or financial assistance. And they also receive job placement service, which has allowed us to achieve about a 75% job placement rate, which is terrific. And wages run just over $18 an hour. Now, I think what is really important, though, and the council member and Lisa touched upon this, is a year after these participants leave this program, we continue to work with them. So yes, we're trying to get them in that entry-level position, but more importantly, we're trying to help them advance their economic mobility into the future. And in 2024, about 129 students went through this program. So what will this grant do for us? A couple of things. One, it will continue to allow this program to be free to the participants, but then it's also going to allow us to expand our services to those individuals, allow us to reach out into the employer community a little bit more, and we think it can help us scale, maybe reach 100 more students over the next year. So we are eternally grateful for this, so impactful for us. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Emilia Sheely from Riverview International. So thank you.
Thank you so much. At a time when we're just seeing unprecedented attacks on immigrant and refugee communities, those same communities that are really driving this growth in Central Ohio, I can't express how much it means to us to receive this funding. It's security for us. It's a gift, and it's one that we will steward well to continue serving new Americans. Our mission at Riverview International Center is to empower our new American neighbors by supporting individuals, strengthening families, and nurturing community. Our story in a nutshell: we're almost 10 years old later this year. We started as just an open door in an apartment in Riverview Drive, a neighborhood that's very dense with immigrants and refugees. We were open a few hours a week. Someone just sat in the apartment and waited for people to come. She would help them practice English. They would ask questions, and more people started to come. We never advertised. We've never gotten paid for our services. Last year, we served more than 1,800 individuals at our office. We were in the apartment for 8 years, and then last year we experienced a big disruption, which was our renoviction from Riverview Drive, when much of the street was bought by a developer, and we had to find a new space to go, along with 89 of our families that we served. That move, although strenuous, was probably one of the best things that could have happened to us, because in our new space a couple of miles away, we've been able to serve even more people. Our workforce development program is a key part of our mission to support, strengthen, and nurture. We recognize that employment is the foundation of a stable life in the United States, and our families came here for a stable life. We will use this funding to add another staff member to our workforce team, all of whom are here today, and I'm so grateful for the hard, amazing work that you do every day to help people find jobs. There will be another person joining you soon, and just also to increase our program offerings, including our job readiness classes, our equivalency programs, and our upskilling certifications. Again, we're so grateful for the grant. And like I told council member, it was a lot of happy tears last week, and it was nice to finally have happy tears and not sad tears. So thank you again for your investment in Riverview International Center and in the new Americans that we serve. And now I will pass it back to Councilmember Dorans.
Well, thank you, and hopefully you feel excited about hearing from just a few of the recipients of this grant here today. I'll leave you with this, and certainly happy to open it up to questions to the media, or if folks in the media want to do one-on-ones with folks afterwards. But just want to emphasize the point that I think almost everyone has made up here, is that at a time in which the economic forecast for Central Ohio says that the biggest obstacle for us to overcome is enough skilled workers. And we have folks right now in our community that lack economic stability. It is programs like this that helps to link those two problems together in a way that hopefully moves the needles for families. And this is not just about economic forecasts and numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about families. When you talk about 1,000 people walking through a small office in an apartment building to gain services to help bring them economic stability, that's more than a spreadsheet or a data point. That's about families finding that stability in this community. And as we think about the legacy of this kind of investment, in which we learn from this investment at the same time about what works in our community and what works for different members of our community, whether or not they're legacy residents of this community or folks that have just arrived here, that is incredibly important for us to focus on as we think about how do we build a more equitable Columbus into the future. So thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone that stood up to say, I want to be part of this. Whether or not it's the first time or the many time that they partner with the City of Columbus on these efforts in the past. But I am very, very excited to be part of this and to watch this program grow over the next several years. So with that, thank you for everyone coming. Certainly want to pause and see if the media has any questions at this point for myself or anyone, but we certainly can do one-on-ones afterwards. Great, thank you, appreciate it.